Hey everybody, and welcome back to Josh Lioce's video blog. This week we're talking about how expensive it is to buy a home. And it's not just the price of homes in today's market. We're talking about all those additional costs that creep up, especially on first-time home buyers that they're just not aware of and they forget, and then they're shocked at the closing table. So stay right here. We'll be right back. We're going to talk about the 4 costs that you haven't factored in when you're buying a home. All right, welcome back. So let's talk about those 4 costs or 4 categories of costs in regards to things that you're just not expecting, especially for first-time home buyers. So number 1, maybe you know about this, maybe you don't, but you have to pay for an inspection. More importantly, you need to realize that if the inspection finds things that are wrong with the home and you back out of that deal as part of your contingency, that you're allowed to remove yourself from that process because of the home inspection, you don't get that money back, right? That's an expense for a service. So some people don't really factor that in and realize, hey, I'm going to pay for this before I even signed a purchase and sale, and it's very, very costly. It's not $50. It's going to be $400, $500, $600, and if there's a well test for water quality and quantity, it could be up to almost $800, $900, or $1,000. Now, that money is the best money you'll spend in a real estate transaction. Don't get me wrong, I think it's imperative that you have a professional do that because it can save you hundreds of thousands of dollars from problems. But make sure you factor that cost in, and remember that's out of pocket before you sign the purchase and sale. All right, number 2, and this is actually multiple things. I talk about bringing money to the closing table, and not just your closing costs, not just those lender's fees, but there's additional costs like prorated taxes or prepaid taxes. If the homeowner has paid taxes ahead for that next quarter, you're going to have to pay them as per the closing date to that end of that quarter. You're also going to have to prepay most likely the next quarter so that your mortgage company has enough in that escrow account to pay the taxes going forward. So you have prepaid escrow items. Homeowners insurance. Most of the time, a lender is going to require you to buy a policy for the whole year and pay for that premium. So that's an upfront cost prior to closing that you're going to have to pay for, and depending on your coverage, anywhere from $800 to $1,200, and that's just a range and a rough guesstimate, but you're going to be paying that in full. Title insurance. You're going to have to pay a lender's coverage policy as part of your closing costs, but there's an optional charge that your attorney will talk to you about that's an owner's coverage. Now, it is hopefully never going to be used, but I will tell you it is money well spent, because when you go to sell, if there is a problem, you are going to want to have that owner's coverage cover the problem to be fixed, because otherwise you can be paying thousands and thousands of dollars out of pocket to address that. And lastly, condo fees. If the seller has paid in full on condo fees, or if it's a single family home, HOA fees, and they've paid ahead or paid a betterment, there's a good chance that you may have to pay a portion of that back from whatever they've paid ahead. So closing costs above and beyond lender's fees are things you need to prepare for and be aware of. Number 3, moving expenses. Now, if you're a first-time home buyer, you may be at the point where you have a bunch of friends who want to get together, help you move, and you're going to pay them in pizza and beer, and they're going to have a great time. If you're like me and you've moved a few times, those things are no longer an option, and you have to actually pay for the move. So a move can be fairly expensive. And if you hire a really good professional company, it's well worth it, because you know your items and the pieces of furniture and all of your stuff will be handled well and in good care. But again, an expense that you don't plan for when you're moving, especially from one house to another. And that move within the same town can be several $1,000s. Forget about if you're moving out of state or across country. So make sure that you're doing a little due diligence on preparing to figure out what those costs look like so you can properly budget your move and its total. All right, and number 4, and lastly, immediate purchases that are required. So when you move into a new home, especially if you're a first-time home buyer, you may need stuff. You certainly may need furniture, maybe you need blinds, maybe you need items for your kitchen that you don't have enough of in your apartment, or maybe you never even moved from an apartment, you moved from mom's house, mom and dad's house into your first house. So there's immediate things you're going to have to buy. Cleaning supplies, supplies for your bathroom, supplies for your kitchen, groceries, a lot of different things. If you subscribe to TV, cable, phone, all that stuff. So make sure you're thinking ahead when you're looking at your total costs and say, okay, what are some of the things I'm going to need out of the gate and additional expenses that I'm going to have that I got to make sure I budget into that immediate move when I first move into this house. All right, there you have it, my list of 4 items that you need to plan for financially when you're buying a home. Remember, these items are outside of that purchase price and those closing costs. They're things that you're going to need to bring money to the table prior to, during the closing, and after the closing. If you have any questions on any of the items that we've discussed today, please feel free to reach out to me. Otherwise, if there's another topic you'd like to hear, please send me an email or feel free to call anytime and we can chat about any of the questions you may have as well. Otherwise, as always, thank you for watching Josh Lioce's video blog, and we will see you next time.